Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhaktasevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 8, the story of Pingala. Text number 11 onwards. Sayantanam Shwastanam Va Na Sangranhit Dikshitam Pani Patro Daramatro Makshikeva Na Sangrahi. A saintly person should not think, this food I will keep to eat tonight and this other food I can save for tomorrow. In other words, a saintly person should not store foodstuffs acquired by begging. Rather, he should use his own hands as his plate and eat whatever fits on them. His only storage container should be his belly, and whatever conveniently fits into his belly should be his stock of food. Conveniently fits. Wow, not overfeeding. Thus, one should not imitate the greedy honeybee who eagerly collects more and more honey. So there are two types of bees, bumblebees who collect nectar from flowers but do not make honey, and honeybees who manufacture honey in the beehive. This verse refers to the honeybees. The greedy honeybee eventually collects so much honey that he is trapped in his hive. And in the same way, materialistic person becomes trapped under the burden of unnecessary material accumulation. One who is interested in making spiritual progress should avoid such a situation. However, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur points out that for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness, one may accumulate an unlimited amount of material opulence. This is called Yukta Vairagya, or using everything in the service of Krishna. A saintly person who is unable to work in Lord Chaitanya's mission should practice austerities and collect only what he can hold in his hands and belly. However, one who has given his life to Krishna may collect unlimitedly on Lord Krishna's behalf. In fact, without acquiring material opulence, how is it possible to spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world? But if one tries to personally enjoy the funds or facilities acquired for the missionary activities of the Krishna consciousness movement, he commits the greatest offense. Therefore, even in the name of Lord Krishna, one should collect only what he can immediately engage in practical devotional service. Otherwise, one will fall down to the platform of ordinary greediness. So here, eating doesn't only mean eating, it's also collecting. For eating wise also, one has to be very careful, but that's for brahmacharis and sannyasis. But at the same time, we have to understand the principle behind it, that we should be more reliable on Krishna, surrender to Krishna and has more faith in Krishna than on our greediness and our collecting everything for our requirements, more than the requirements. So here it is said, well, for Krishna consciousness, one can accumulate an unlimited amount of material opulence. But the problem is not the unlimited amount of material opulence. Problem is our getting attached to it and thinking this is for my pleasure. This is, or not directly my pleasure, or because of whatever funds I have collected, even for Krishna, understanding it's collected by Krishna's mercy only, for Krishna's service only, we start thinking, I have collected. So somehow or other, I'm gonna enjoy it. Either take a big power position, or enjoy it directly. That's where the problem is. Problem is not with material opulence. Just like once Tamal Krish Maharaj was explaining that they went to They were invited, Srila Prabhupada and some of his servants were invited for dinner at some rich man's house. So they all went, and at the dinner table, they all were served in wonderful silver plates and silver bowls, prasad. And Prabhupada, everybody ate. But Prabhupada was not at all attached to anything. So on the way back, after dinner, they were on the way back to the temple, and Tamalkash Maharaj told Prabhupada, we should be serving you in those silver plates. But these karmis, look at how they're enjoying. Prabhupada just looked at him and he said, don't be envious. Don't be envious of his wealth, his opulence. This is envious. Might be thinking of serving Prabhupada, but inside is like, well, we should be getting that. Sorry. So we got to be very, very careful. Very careful. Sayantanam shwasatanam va na sangrahita bhikshaka makshika eva sangrahnam sahatena vinashyati. A saintly mendicant should not even collect foodstuffs to eat later in the same day or the next day. If he disregards this injunction and, like the honeybee, collects more and more delicious foodstuffs, that which he has collected will indeed ruin him. So careful one has to. The word Brahmar refers to the bumblebee who wanders about from flower to flower, collecting as much nectar as he needs. And the Makshika is a honeybee who accumulates more and more honey in the beehive with great attachment. A saintly mendicant should be like the Brahmar bee, because if he imitates a Makshika bee, his spiritual consciousness will be ruined. This point is so important that it is repeated in this verse. So it was repeated in the previous, it was mentioned in the previous verse and it is repeated here. Padapi yuvatim bhikshur na sprashe daravim api na sprashan kariva badheta karinya aranga sangata. A saintly person should never touch a young girl. In fact, he should not even let his foot touch a wooden doll in the shape of a woman. By bodily contact with the woman, he will surely be captured by illusion, just as the elephant is captured by the she-elephant due to his desire to touch her body. Elephants are captured in the jungle in the following way. A large hole is dug and then covered over with grass, leaves, mud, and so on. Then a she-elephant is exhibited in front of the male elephant, who chases after her with lusty desire, falls into the hole, and is captured. The lesson to be learned from the elephant is that the desire to relish the touch sensation is certainly the cause of ruining one's life. The desire to relish the touch sensation. And for the elephant, the she-elephant is a most beautiful person. Most beautiful. Her skin is so soft for the elephant. Of course, when we look at the elephant and look at the skin, it doesn't attract us. But for elephant, that's his Miss Universe. And he runs after her. An intelligent person, noting the elephant's great propensity to sport with the she-elephant, will take this excellent example to heart. Therefore, somehow or other, one should avoid being cheated by allurement to the sensuous form of women. One should not allow one's mind to be lost in the lusty dreams of sex pleasure. There are various types of sense gratification to be enjoyed between men and women, including speaking, contemplating, touching, sexual intercourse, etc. And all of these constitute the network of illusion by which one is helplessly bound like an animal. Somehow or other, one should remain aloof from sense gratification in the form of sex pleasure. Otherwise, there is no possibility of understanding the spiritual. So this is how, I mean, one should even avoid even touching a doll in the shape of a woman, because mind, so crazy, it can create so much of impressions in the mind, and one just gets attracted. That's it. Nadi gachet striyam pragya karhichin mrityum atmanah baladhikah sahanyeta gajar anyar gajo yatha. A man possessing intelligent discrimination should not under any circumstances try to exploit the beautiful form of a woman for his sense gratification. Just as an elephant trying to enjoy a she-elephant is killed by other bull elephants also enjoying her company, one trying to enjoy a lady's company can at any moment be killed by her other lovers who are stronger. It happens in elephant, happens in human beings also, happens all over. Just as one is enchanted by the beautiful form of a woman, many other men will also be enchanted, and there is danger that they will be stronger than oneself and may even jealously kill one. Crimes of passion are extremely common. This is another disadvantage of material life. So crimes of passion happens all the time. Na deyam na upabhogyam cha lubdhair yad dukha sanchitam bahute tad api sattachanyo madhu hevartha vin madhu. A greedy person accumulates a large quantity of money with great struggle and pain. But the person who has struggled so much to acquire his wealth is not always allowed to enjoy it himself or give it in charity to others. The greedy man is like the bee who struggles to produce a large quantity of honey, which is then stolen by a man who will enjoy it personally or sell it to others. No matter how carefully one hides his hard-earned wealth or tries to protect it, there are those who are expert in detecting the whereabouts of valuable things, and they will steal it. And even if thieves don't steal it, the government will come and steal it. So what's the point? So that's why one should use it in service of Krishna or give charity. Give charity. Somebody will steal it someday or other. One may argue that a wealthy man may conceal his money so expertly by investing it in banks, stocks, properties, and so on that there is no danger of theft. Only foolish people actually hide money by burying it in the ground or placing it under a mattress, or putting it in the false ceiling or false walls. But despite the fact that majority of the world's wealth has been accumulated in highly developed capitalistic countries, these countries are being severely challenged by many enemies who threaten at any moment to overrun the capitalists and steal their wealth. Similarly, we often find that the children of wealthy people are kidnapped and then the parents must pay huge ransoms. Sometimes the parents themselves may also be kidnapped. Furthermore, the so-called investment counselors who are expert in stealing the money of rich people. And in the modern age, governments have also become expert in stealing money by taxation. The words arthavit indicates one who by hook or by crook is expert in stealing the hard-earned wealth of other people. The bees work frantically to produce honey, but they will not enjoy their honey. As Krishna says, Mrityu sarva harashjaha. I'll come as death personified and steal everything. Some or other, one's hard-earned material opulence will be stolen, and therefore, as mentioned in this verse, one should not work uselessly like the foolish honeybee. Collect, and then it will be taken away. And while working so hard to accumulate money, we have no time for spiritual life or spiritual practices. Then we are loser on both ends. Sudukho parjitar vitter asha sanam vihashisha. madhu heva grato bhunte yatarave grihi medhinam. Just as a hunter takes away the honey laboriously produced by the honeybees, similarly, saintly mendicants such as brahmacharis and sannyasis are entitled to enjoy the property painstakingly accumulated by householders dedicated to family enjoyment. Of course, saintly mendicants such as brahmachari and sannyas, they don't come to steal anybody's property. They just use it in the service of Krishna. The scriptures state saintly mendicants in the sannyas order of life and brahmacharis have first right to enjoy the sumptuous foodstuffs produced by the householders. If the householders enjoy such foodstuffs without first offering them in charity to the mendicants, such neglectful householders must undergo the lunar fast called Chandrayana. In family life, one must overcome the natural tendency towards selfishness by giving abundant charity. Modern society foolishly does not observe such Vedic injunctions, and as a result, the world has become overrun by the envious Grihimedhis, of persons wholly and solely dedicated to personal gratification in family life. So their whole aim, Grihimedhi, these two words are there, Grihimedhi and Grihastha. So Grihastha means the Grihastha ashram, one who's living as a Grihastha and still making spiritual progress. But Grihimedhi are the ones whose whole motto of life is eat, drink, and be merry. That's it. Therefore, the whole world is seized in an uncontrollable spasm of violence and suffering. If one wants to live peacefully, one must follow the Vedic injunctions regulating family life. Although the householders work very hard to accumulate money, the saintly sannyasis and brahmacharis have the right to first enjoy the fruits of such labor. The conclusion is that one should give first priority to spiritual advancement and Krishna consciousness, and thus perfect one's life. Then, even without personal endeavor, one will be supplied all of one's necessities by the mercy of the personality of Godhead. And that is for sure. He takes care of everybody, and especially those who are surrendered to him. Sannyasis and brahmacharis, if they're surrendered to him, if they're working for spreading the glories of Krishna, Krishna does take care. And here, injunction is for the householders. In fact, there is another place that is mentioned. A householder, before taking his meal, should come out of the house and announce it loudly, is there anybody hungry around here to eat? 3 times. And if there is somebody hungry, he should feed him first and then himself. If there is anything left, he should eat. It's so strict. Why? Because he should not be attached, should be given charity, and only householders can take care of all the other 3 ashrams, brahmacharya, vanprastha, and sannyas. So it's a very ashram of very, very responsibility, very much responsibility. And this is how they make progress. Otherwise, if we are just spending our days counting money, dollars, rupees, pounds, shillings, pence, men, then what will happen? We'll get more and more attached to money, and the money sooner or later it will be taken away. If not by thieves or government, then at the time of death, Kal will take it away. And then what? All we are left with is attachment to our money. We didn't use it, we didn't enjoy it, and in the end we have to give it away. Grama Geetam na Shruniyad Yatirvana Chara Kvachit Shiksheta Harinad Datan Mrigyor Geeta Mohitat. A saintly person dwelling in the forest in the renounced order of life should never listen to songs or music promoting material enjoyment. Rather, a saintly person should carefully study the example of the deer, who is bewildered by the sweet music of the hunter's flute and is thus captured and killed. If one becomes attached to the sense gratification of materialistic music and songs, movie songs or other songs, one will develop all the features of material entanglement. One should hear Bhagavad Gita or the song sung by the Supreme Lord or the song sung by the devotees, acharyas. They have sung so many, written so many beautiful songs and sung them. And they all ultimately take us towards Krishna. But definitely not the movie songs. Nritya Vaditra Gitani Jushan Gramyani Yoshitam Asam Kridanako Vashya Rishya Shringo Mrigi Sutaka. Becoming attracted to the worldly singing, dancing, and musical entertainment of beautiful women. Even the great sage Rishya Shringa, the son of a deer, fell totally under the control, just like a pet animal. Rishya Shringa was intentionally brought up by his father in an atmosphere of complete innocence. The father thought that if his son were never exposed to the sight of women, he would always remain a perfect brahmachari. So this happened in Ram Leela actually. Rishya Shringa's father, completely forgetting his name. So he was doing austerities. So Indra always sends some apsara to disturb the austerity of sages because he gets afraid if this person does too much austerity, he might take over my position. So he sends apsara, I think her name was Hansika. So Hansika came near the Rishi and Rishi discharged his semen. And Rishi opened his eyes, discharged his semen, and he was like, okay, Indra was happy, his tapasya is broken, so he cannot do anything now. And but the semen was there, and Rishi said to Hansika, because if the semen came out, you'd take it and become pregnant. And she said, well, we are apsaras, we don't get pregnant. So I'm going back. And Rishi then looked around and there was a female deer. So the semen was put in female deer's body and this son came out. And he had horns of a deer, Shringa, but he was son of a Rishi. So his name was Rishi Shringa. But he was beautiful, beautiful boy. And because the Rishi saw the Apsara left, and he was so sorry and so angry at all the women. That what kind of mother is it? Or she should be here to take care of this boy, and rather this boy, I have to take care. So he, in his whole ashram, this was a big forest, that was his ashram. He made sure no female species, even of animals or insects or plants, no female species whatsoever would remain in his ashram. So Rishi Shringa was very, very innocent and very powerful sage, was brought up by his father. He was always doing austerities or helping his father, and he had never come in contact with a female. Not even animals or birds. No female, none whatsoever. So then there was a huge drought in the kingdom of Maharaj Romapad. Romapad Maharaj was friend of Maharaj Dashrath. And Dashrath had a daughter named Shanta. And Romapad Maharaj was bringing up Shanta because they were friends, and and he adopted this daughter Shanta. But there was a severe drought in his kingdom because he made a mistake against a against a Brahman, unknowingly or unknowingly. Actually, when he was giving charity to a Brahman, he saw a huge piece of diamond that went into that charity bowl. And he thought, what is Brahman going to do with that big piece of diamond? Let me give him some other diamonds, and took away that diamond. And Brahman found out, and he got angry and he cursed him. There won't be any rain in your kingdom. Now, there was no rain, and no rain means no. How is he going to feed the population of his kingdom? Big problem. Then somebody told him that if Rishishringa comes and he performs the yajna, there will be rain in your kingdom. Great, let's get Rishishringa. The problem is his father was such a powerful sage, and he didn't want to let Rishishringa go anywhere, and especially not in any kingdom where all the women were there. Okay, now what to do? So they devised a plan, the king and his ministers. So first, Rishishringa's father had to be taken away from the ashram. So they made an announcement. Some rishis came to Rishishringa's father, or there is a big problem, an elephant has got stuck somewhere, somehow there was a problem, and you have to come and really take them out or somehow help. So father went and he made sure and told Rishishringa, be very careful, just be here, don't go far away. So then King Rompad, he sent these lots of ladies who were dressed up as Brahmins, as sadhus. And all these beautiful women went on a beautiful boat and singing and went to this ashram. And Rishishringa saw these sages coming. And he said, okay, my father told me to serve the sages. So he asked them, what are you doing? You sing so beautifully. Please come to my ashram and let me serve you. So all these beautiful ladies who were like sages, and they went. And Rishishringa, first time when he touched these sages' bodies, he felt different. He said, well, these sages are different. What's the difference? He couldn't figure out, but they were different. And these beautiful women were the sages. They said, oh, let's go to the next ashram. Rishishringa said, no, I'm not supposed to go. My father has told me, no, let's go. We will be back in a few days. What's the big deal? So he come with us. So somehow Rishishringa fell in attraction with them, and then he went. And it is said that they went to this kingdom of Maharaj Rompad, and as soon as he touched the ground, he got off from the boat and touched the ground of Maharaj Rompad's kingdom, the clouds appeared and the rain happened. So the rain happened, everybody was happy, and Maharaj Rompad welcomed Rishishringa, young boy, very, very beautiful boy. So he went to his palace, and now Maharaj Rompad was afraid that as soon as his father finds out, and he is going to give curse again, what to do? So what he did, he married Rishishringa to Shanta, who later became sister of Ram. So when he married him to Shanta, and he gave him half the kingdom. He said, okay, you have half the kingdom. So when Rishishringa's father found out, he could not do anything, because his son was married to this girl, and he was having half the kingdom. So he could not curse. But this Rishishringa later on performed this sacrifice for Maharaj Dashrath. When he performed the sacrifice and this Purusha appeared, he got this bowl of rice, and all the three queens ate, and then this is how Lord Ram came to perform his fast. So somehow Rishishringa's name came. The name Rishishringa indicates that the young sage was born with a deer-like horn growing out of his forehead. If like the deer, a rishi becomes attracted to sweet musical sounds, promising sense gratification, then like the deer, he is quickly vanquished. A thoughtful person should humbly take instructions from the deer who is doomed by attraction to musical sense gratification. So I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.